All right, how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's had a fine night's sleep or are getting ready for a fine night's sleep. All right, so we're going to get into this now and try and get a little bit of music in the background. The last stream I did didn't have any music to it, and my microphone was cutting off and on, and it was just crap. So let's give it another shot, see if we can't do something a little bit more professional. And yeah, hopefully this will turn out a little better. So yeah, let's hope these levels are a little bit better. The one time I did it, the music was too loud. Another time the music was too quiet. Or the second stream, there was no music at all. So I couldn't hear anything. Mike was cutting in and out. And yeah, that's no fun. Hopefully we can do something to kind of get it in the record. I would eventually like to have a collection of videos that kind of just talk about me, about what I want to achieve with this project. Which I was talking with somebody today, and this could actually be some sort of a legit repository for material for people who are reaching out for it, looking for it, as questions. Loss, I can find some links and I can get them in the description. I haven't done it yet. I've started. It's going to be a big task trying to find the most general ones that can lead to the most specific. Mental health is an enormous subject. And but it's divided up into several subcategories, and we're talking about spread around the world. There's no telling where someone to talk to or somebody to relate to in South America, as far as I know. I have how to find that sort. But I believe that over time we could probably get together some sort of a repository of this information. I'm going to get started on it. I already have several in a file in a new document that I haven't posted to, or I haven't copied over to the description. I really don't want to do too long of a stream. I really don't want anybody to jump in my chat yet. I would like to be a little bit more prepared, that sort of a thing. And I wouldn't mind doing a lot more research into the subject and trying to figure out different categories that we need. If anybody wants to leave suggestions, you can send me a whisper through Twitch. I'll probably put a copy of this on YouTube. You can leave links in the or you could put, paste URLs in the description of that, and I'll check them out and try and figure out which ones we want to go with, which ones can be best serve the people that might hear, meaning gamers. is an incredible amount of work that has been written on the subject of, on every subject. But like most people, I don't have time to sit down and sort my way through the good ones. So some research will still be needed. Find links to help us in that path. Recently been made aware of several podcasts that deal with this sort of a topic, grieving, loss, trauma in your life, sickness, illness, all that stuff. And it's never really been a resource that I've been able to or ever had any knowledge of or interest in. But I'm going to check those out. I'm going to see if I can't find some people who are like-minded, want to try and consolidate a list of places and courses that are good. The one thing I do know is that in the early days for me, the one person that I could was a dear friend of the family. I won't say dear friend, we really liked him. Lost his daughter unexpectedly. And our bond, when my son left, became, over the miles and over the years, became instantaneous and grew to love, empathy. Hard to describe. First time I talked to him on the phone after it happened, it was like talking to somebody who had some true knowledge of what it was going like, or what it was going through. It was actually, and he was the first one who delivered the really hard news that you'll never get over it. Hurt you for the rest of your life. Also the first person that gave me the good news. Eventually you'll be able to catch your breath again. Days after it, I still hadn't been breath or have a solid thought. That lasted for several weeks. But he's the first one who gave me a hope and a light at the end of the tunnel, that the way I was feeling now would pass. It would pass. What did it to pass? It would change into something that hurt more, but also hurt less at the same. And I like to call the pool of fire that I jump into every day. And now I have just a bit of control over how long I stay in it. Jump in it before I get there. And I believe the ability to do that is kind of one of the keys I want to put forth on this channel, is that the stress that we have in our lives, we can work on releasing it, we can work on getting rid of it to the best of our abilities, but it's a piece of work that needs to be paid attention to on a daily basis, or at least every other day. Take probably better care of your car than you do yourself, and that I did. I was a relatively happy guy with my life and on. And at the same time, in my house, in my reality, I was living with somebody who was upset with the world, going through a lot of pain. And he hid it from us. He smiled and gave me hugs. Said, "I love you." I could have sworn he was happy. I'll never know. So if I had been the sort of person then that I try to be now, I'm pretty sure he'd still be alive. Would have had more meaningful conversations, And we would have tried to share an openness of spirit that I think most fathers and sons have. I didn't have it with my dad. I've rarely been open and like this, but to a few people, dear friends, people that I care about. I've never looked at a camera and talked to a bunch of strange people that I don't know about subjects like this. But I feel like that's part of the problem. Nobody does. And it's very, very, very important. I think any teenagers that might watch this will totally agree or understand where I'm coming from when I say I didn't open up to my dad about anything. I told him who I truly was inside. I never need to. It was something I had to do, so I didn't do it. And he never pushed me. He would ask me, "How you doing?" I'd say, "Sounds good." He'd get some food and go to bed. He was a coal miner. And life is stressful, and everybody just wants to do what they have to do each day and then take the rest of the day off and then get to bed early, maybe get some sleep or have some fun. And he did whatever he wanted, but I reassured him that I was fine. Looking back on it, I probably wasn't fine. I had a lot of issues as well, deep down, that are, part and parcel with being a human, being other human. Perfect, nobody job. And so, but my issues, I was never shown how to bring them to the surface or allow them to the surface. I did. And I raised the same sort of boy. I asked him if he was doing good. He said yes, and I pretty much was happy. And I'm sure a lot of adults watching this who have children probably get the same answers from their kids. And the unpleasant part about this, not the unpleasant, but the inconvenient part about this is probably 80% of them are fine. And you prying into their life will piss them off, alienate them, or make them feel like maybe there's... It's going to be a really difficult uphill road here, trying to educate parents and kids, young adults, just boys, girls, men, women, everybody that I can get a hold of, about my beliefs of the importance of changing this sort of relationships that we have. Take it for granted that the person that we insult today will be around tomorrow to say pray to. One of these days, that's not going to be. You will have said your last thing to someone. Bad thing, you'll carry it around for the rest of the guilty about. Allowing yourself to be that person in the first place is really what I want to address. Why do people? Do they say hurtful things? Is there no love of one another like there could be, maybe should be? More of a philosophical, religious point almost. But I do believe that we can each day try and be realer, present. The people that are around us, we only know probably 24 people. We only see maybe 10 people on a basis, and examine your relationships with those people. Are they pure? Are they real? Are they supportive? Are they helpful? And if they're not, you can work on it. If they are, you keep it up. You're doing a good job as a person. But when you get to the part of the situation, you realize that people can't really be happy or supportive or caring if they're unhappy inside. And unhappiness will wrap itself around your stomach and take residence there, and it will become part of you. Almost like a muscle that's been held in a position for too long starts to cramp up because it thinks you want to stay in that position. And we're not really made aware that that's not a normal, it's a normal thing, but we're not really made aware that it's not a knack. The stress of today's world and today's concerns is almost an 18-hour job in today's society. Wake up at 5:30 and get moving. 18 hours is only 9:30 that next night. And so if you've spent the whole thing moving towards your job, actually at your job, stressing out about getting home again, and you got to worry about eating, you got to worry, you got to worry. That leaves very little time for anything else. And I think one of the most important things that we're all missing is a period of time during the day where you're quiet. Everything is quiet as can be, and you intentionally try to unravel stretch out that muscle that's the core of our being and get it into some sort of loose, flexible state, and continue to work at it every day so that eventually you can shake off the stress of the day. You can just see it, remove it, set it aside for later and start loving yourself, just loving the fact that the air you're breathing is being transformed somehow into you being alive, and how wonderful that is, and how truly unique you are as an individual. This world, believe it is unique. And that's something that should be exalted, something that should be really thought about and held close each day. The reason I feel so strongly about this particular subject is because it's really the only thing that's allowed me to do this. It's the only thing that's allowed me to stand up. Really, it was the first thing that I found that changed my environment. It changed me. Learning how to relax and do a little bit of meditation for a few minutes each night. My process and progress was slow. It's much easier to lay down and cry. Much easier. I did it for a long time, and if I tried hard enough, I could go. But that's really not doing me any good. It doesn't accomplish anything. More important is, as soon as I started to breathe deeply and slow my breathing down, dive down inside myself, I realized that I didn't need to lay down. Stood up, thought, well, that's an interesting change, and slowly over the course of a couple weeks of listening to videos about meditating and hypnosis and things, really changed the way I fall asleep each night, and it changed the way waking up. And that was key for me. Nobody ever told me that. Sure, I've heard that it's good, that if you do it enough, you can achieve great things. But I'd done it, never needed to, always slept like a rock, life was good, everything relatively. Then a pretty severe sort of trauma happened, and, and it could be anything. It could be finding out you have illness, it could be losing a pinky, something that just gets into your head and it gets into your heart and your stomach, and it's developed. It could be an argument with someone. It doesn't take out. It's amazing how fast we can take that stress and internal. But that's a conversation for another day. After I've done a little research. And to sum it up, the most important part of your day is the first 10 seconds. Realize that you're done sleeping and it's time to open your eyes and stand up. If you can take just 10 seconds, 30 seconds, and lay there and just shift out of whatever gear that you're getting ready to start in. Some people will jump up and they'll just be racing. And some people can do that just fine. They don't need to. But other people do. I do. I can't stop now. So I'm going to keep doing it. I'm trying to wake up that way. And the key for me to do that is to find that same sort of peacefulness before I go to sleep. I can't explain how much it's done for me just intentionally being quiet, still, and slower. Breathe. I can explain how it changed my whole outlook on it. Allowed me to face this camera and talk about my heart. It's allowed me to sit down in front of my son's picture without crying. I have a lot of work to do, and it will be along those lines. And I believe that the resources are the word of mouth, the father to the son thing. It's not a part of our cultural tradition to talk like this. And I'm going to talk like this to everybody I meet for the rest of my life. And it shouldn't take a tragedy to get you to wish to gosh. I almost said wish to God, that's funny. I wish that I had been this sort of a person before this happened. That's all I will say about that. Wishing and things like that don't accomplish anything, but they do give you something to try to prevent in the future. He said, care about. And so I'm going to pretty much call that wrap. I really want to try and get the links in the description all set up before anybody even comes into this sort of a stream. I don't even know if anybody will even come in, but I would have had I heard of such a thing. And that person-to-person contact that I talked about at the beginning, that's what this is. Looking somebody in the eyes, that's looking at somebody who's suffered what you're suffering, helps. It helps. Voice over the phone helps. Being somebody, actually sitting down with somebody, those all help at different ways. There was no place, no guy like me to ask for advice. Later on, I did have now since met several men who've been where I sit. They're deep guys. They are appreciative of life and they're trying to change the way things are so that no one has to go through this. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to get my links posted in the description. I'm going to find several. Please send me any requests that you would like to see in there, things that you know help somebody. And don't be afraid to send me a direct message on Twitch. I'll put this video on YouTube. Try to get back to everybody. And yeah, tomorrow I'm going to do another stream. I'm going to try and start it around 7. And I'll probably fire up a game. Start, doing the things that I used to do, gaming, and having fun with that, listening. Tonight. Hope you have a good morning or a good evening, depending on wherever you're at, and take care of each other.